Okay, that's fine, that's fine. What about who's this person? Blessing. No, not Blessing. Faith Agbo. I'd like to hear you. What's your opinion or what's your take on what digital advocacy is? All right, Faith, quickly. I can see Comrade Light's hand up. What do you have to say before he takes over? All right, Comrade Light, please go on. What do you think digital advocacy is about? Yes, Comrade Light, please go on. I can hear you. Are you speaking? Because you're... Okay, Daniel, your hand is up. You should want to speak.
Good afternoon. I believe digital literacy means using social media or digital means to push forward ideas. Beliefs.
Okay. Good afternoon, Helen.
All right, thank you. Yes, Oluchukwu. Yes,
Okay,
good afternoon.
I said digital advocacy is a means of using internet or social media to create an awareness of a particular product, of a particular stuff. So you're advocating, just for instance, if I'm a gender advocate, simply put that I create awareness for gender equity and so that. So it's using social media or internet to create awareness of a particular product or service.
Right, perfect, brilliant. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have something to say before we go on?
Yes.
Okay, who's that?
Barnabas.
All right, Barnabas, yes, please go on.
Okay, thank you. Digital advocacy has to do with the use of technology or social media platform to create content or promote or mobilize support for a particular cause. And for example, in 2019, we used social media, the likes of Twitter, the likes of Instagram, to canvass support for Peter Obi, the presidential candidate in the last election. The campaign for him, most of us had our own enthusiasm to campaign for him through the use of social media. And so it is those of social media platform to canvas support for campaign for a particular cause.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes, thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. Your answers were brilliant. It shows that you already have an idea of what this means. So, yes. So, as I was saying, as all of you have rightly said, actually, digital advocacy is just basically the use of digital tools and platforms to promote social change, and influence policy change. Yeah. So why is it important? It's important that we're able to do this or utilize digital tools and platforms so that we can easily amplify our voices, we can reach a global audience, and also create a sense of community and shared purpose, right? So am I on it? Okay. Yeah, so I'd like us to cast our minds back to the NSAS protests back in 2020. I'm sure most of us here if we may not be very active, but we're following everything on social media, right? And from that whole experience or from that period, if you're able to throw your mind back to that time and the happenings, everything that took place, how the communication was, what led to the start of it, how it ended, in the process of it, what were the things that you could, identify as it relates to this topic. I'm sure you start by noticing how social media played a very, very, very huge part in the success. I wouldn't say, well, not necessarily success per se, but then it played a huge part in how progressive the NSAS movement, have come to be, right? And one of such platforms is what someone suggests quickly. Guys, I like us to communicate, right? I like us this class to be very engaging. So when I ask a question, just even if you don't know the answer, just you can type in the comment section briefly whatever you think it is. But one of such platforms were Twitter, right? Social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all. And you can see that people were able to use these platforms to organize the protest. They use it to share information. They use it to mobilize support, right? Those three basic things, which are like the hallmarks of advocacy. Advocacy generally like has three pillars. If you must be, is how do you mobilize support? How do you pass this information across? And how are you able to organize, whatever team or persons you need for that? So social media played a huge role that time. And another thing again is that it was able to draw, because the NSAS protest was basically mostly online on almost every platform as far as Nigeria is concerned. It was able to draw international attention, right? Which then forced the government to respond. Even though at first the response from the government was basically harsh, with the killings left and right, but because social media, which is now like a global, I like to think about it as the new power. If you can control social media, you can control the world. That is fact. And that is why this the moguls and the leaders of the world right now, it's a very viable tool. So because the organizers of NSAS protest, because Nigerian citizens at that time, at least those ones that had, great or huge impact of following social media, they were able to mobilize social media platforms like Twitter, like Instagram, Facebook and all. They were able to mobilize support, they were able to organize the protest properly, and most importantly, share information, which drew international attention, which drew government response, and also it has, I would say, it has sustained an enduring legacy of youth, Nigerian youths being active, or Nigerian youth in activism, right, in Nigeria. If at any point in history, when we talk about NSAS protest, it's a time that is engraved as a time when Nigerian youth found their voices, right? And it is because we have that as a legacy and on a space or a platform where almost everybody in generation can, can access, and that's social media. So social media is just one, one platform or one digital platform that you and I can use, to advocate for institutional transparency and advocacy. And I'd like us to go through other platforms. Yeah, I mentioned social media. I mentioned Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, right? And what you can use it for. I talked about mobilizing support. I talked about organizing events, sharing stories, and all that. And then there's blogging platforms. How many of us are bloggers here? I'm sure we know what blogging platforms are, and you know what it means to blog. Yeah, I can see your answers in the comment section. Thank you very much. Yeah, Twitter especially. Exactly. Speaking. Exactly. Thank you very much. Yeah. So yeah, there are blogging platforms basically are platforms where you write. If you're a good writer, you may not be a good speaker, but you can write. And writing is also a powerful tool to communicate. Although we live in an era where people don't like to read that much, but if you master the art of writing, or the art of yeah, it's writing actually, that of communicating through writing, you would know that it's also a very powerful means to communicate, a powerful means to advocate, and get across the yes, social media, of course, apart from being able to speak properly, if you go through down history, you would learn that some of the greatest activists, some of the greatest leaders the world have ever known were also great writers. And most of their works were actually what, put them in limelight. They communicated through their works, most times. So it's also a means of advocacy. It's a means of communicating. And of course, advocacy is communication, right? So it's the same thing I'm trying to say. Now, talk about blogging platforms. We have the likes of Medium. I'm talking about the most popular ones: Medium, WordPress, Blogger, right? You can mention a few if you know some in the comment section. Other blogging platforms that you know, just drop it in the comment section. I'll be looking at that. Then I also like us to cast our mind to video sharing platforms like YouTube, Vimeo, Instagram Live can also be, Instagram Live. Although these are kind of social media platforms, but we separate them when we talk about digital platform because their purposes are different. Although the uses, no, the purpose is the same rather, but the use can be different. For example, content easily, more accurately, you go to YouTube, you go to Vimeo or Instagram Live, you can do Facebook. You want to do short writings and post that, so you go to Facebook, Twitter, and all. Twitter is tweets, like we know, right? And live streaming events, educational content, interviews, and all that. If you want to start like a podcast and all, YouTube is like the go-to. And then we have messaging apps. We have WhatsApp, we have Telegram, which is basically like mostly what I think groups like that or platforms like that are used for creating groups, sharing updates, direct communication and more private communication, right? Which I know that during the exercise time also there were some platforms, some groups on WhatsApp and Telegram that were very active and they were more secure compared to what we had on Instagram and Twitter in terms of communicating. And then we have petition platforms. Some of us know of change.org. Yeah, the KG blog, exactly. How many of us know change.org or others, petition platforms that you should know and you should know how to use as a change maker? Please, this will be an assignment. Go back and research. I have been on change.org for over 6 years. I don't, could be more. I don't know. It's just the easy. If you know what it means to start a petition, change.org, right? It's your like go-to platform to get that done. It's free, it's easy, and so now what are the tools? Why we are casting or what we're focusing on digital platforms or digital tools, how do I say this? Leveraging digital tools to promote good governance, accountability, and transparency. We would also be briefly, like just because it's almost the same thing, looking at other data sources because they are also digital tools, right? And I'm sure that the speaker for yesterday, Mr. Daisy, mentioned some of those platforms. So I wouldn't want to go follow, I wouldn't dwell on that. I'll talk about the ones I probably didn't mention. I know she spoke about open data platforms like Budget, like Tracker, Follow the Money and all, and which are basically used for analyzing government data and tracking budgets. Yeah, there are also some crowdsourcing tools like Ushahidi, Fix My Street. You can jot this down, although I'm going to provide the slides to you later, search purposes, right? But you can just take notes. Okay, so we have platforms like Fix My Street, Ushahidi, and these are basically reporting. These platforms were basically created to report local issues, gathering community input and all that. And then there are other platforms, transparency platforms actually, like Public-Private Development Center is a non-profit that was set up basically just to monitor public institutions, in Nigeria and monitor projects and advocate for transparency. And then there are so many other platforms. So as a young advocate or a youth leader, I would say one of the things you should be able to do or you should learn to do rather, because of course the learning process. I like to say this in the amount of opportunity. In this age, once you are able to communicate verbally, you may not know how to communicate perfectly. There's this difference between perfect communication and being able to pass a message. You may not have the skill to be able to communicate perfectly, but you can speak English, which is the official language, which anybody can hear, or pidgin. You are able to write, at least write something on construction, and you have a phone. Once you have a phone that can access Facebook, Instagram, as far as advocacy is concerned, as far as demanding and monitoring public institutions is concerned, because it is almost every viable tool you need is online, apart from the traditional media that we know, like the newspapers, the traditional reporting houses. Apart from those, and even those ones too, I believe that most of them are keyed into social media now. You have almost all the news channels now online. You have even the newspaper houses like Guardians, this, day, and all. They have their platforms online. So once you are able to identify that Nigeria has a problem, that public institutions not being accountable and transparent is one of Nigeria's problem, and then you can communicate, and then you can speak well, you most definitely are able to, you can't be, able to get engaged, get involved. And how do you do that? Like I said, there are many ways now. Even if you don't want to be the traditional advocate that wants to go, that's going about in the streets, carrying placards, flyers, organizing protests, you can write. People read. You can educate young people. You can educate others. Tell people, teach them that they have rights. Teach them things that they need to know. Some people have a lot to offer. Some people have a lot to do, but they just don't know how to do that. You can, take a place of an educator, right? As a Nigerian youth. And yeah, when I was talking about platforms here, I forgot to mention one, LinkedIn. How many of us are on LinkedIn here, please? Just raise your hand. How many of us are on LinkedIn? Just raise your hand, people. If you're not on LinkedIn in this era, my dear friends, you're doing yourself a great, I don't know what word to use, but a very huge disservice. LinkedIn, apart from being a professional platform, like a platform for professionals, it's also a very viable tool for advocacy. It is something that I'm getting it to the best of my ability. LinkedIn is a space where you are guaranteed of having readership of professionals. Like if, for instance, you want to get across to, if you mean business, and you want to get across to leaders, you want to get across to people in various sectors, no matter their office, it's the place to get them. What you have to do is learn how to communicate on it, learn how to, make connections and keep connections. If you're a writer, for instance, let me give you an example, and you're a very good writer, you're good at analyzing, situations and all, you could just make it a hobby. You could take it upon yourself to analyze policies, right? Make analysis of policies, make what's the word I'm looking for? Reviews, right, of policies. For example, the Student Loan Act that was recently passed, I think sometime in July or June. You could say, okay, what does this act entail for young Nigerians? What does it mean for you and I that are still in school and our future, right? How does this affect us? Does this really work? Will it really work for me and my fellow youth? You make a comprehensive analysis of it, make your own review of it, make your recommendations. I think things that you think could have been done better or could have been enacted better, and you put it on LinkedIn. And trust me, your readership is not the normal guy in a beer parlor kind of leadership. Is the professional who is working either at the Ministry of Education or the Minister of Education himself that's reading these articles. And that's how you grow. And apart from the fact that you're getting the right audience on LinkedIn, you are also growing your network and you're growing your visibility, right? Please take it serious. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, go back and open one. You can just take a walk, look at other people's accounts, how they're doing it, set up yours in the same fashion. With time, you can pick up and start growing. Very, very important. Now, that's an aside though. So Now let's talk about strategies for effective digital advocacy. Now, I know that we live in an era where young people are very callous, very careless, very reckless. Forgive me, we're all young here, but it's true. Some things that people do, people my age do, like it baffles me. I don't get it. I don't understand how you're 25 or you're 26 and you don't know what to post online and what not to post. It's almost like it's a free space for everything, both for the mad and the sane. Social media, it gives you that freedom to do whatever you like on it. And those are some of the dangers of social media that people don't know. Most people have 4 years ago. Most people have lost opportunities because of one careless post they made 5 to 4 years ago online. It's real, it's happening. If any of you here are workers, I know that before you apply for a job, they ask if your social media accounts, handles and all that. They go and check. Social media now is like, that's why I call it the new power. It's like a mirror. If I want to know who you are, it's easy. I just type your name on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or on Instagram, and I get like a clear perception of your personality, good or bad, and I move. I've done that too. When I want to employ, there's no way I'm going to work with you if I don't take a look at you, because that's where people think they are free. And because they think they are free, they do anything, they write anything, they see anything, and then you get to see the real, their real personalities in terms of character, attitude to work, attitude to life and everything, which of course, matters, So first thing about how to advocate or strategies for effective digital advocacy is building an online presence. You have to be able to establish a credible and trustworthy personality or presence online. You have to be able to do that. You should be that person that when you post, people are rushing to come and read you because they know that they are reading something of value. They are reading something that is authentic and they can rely on that source. That means they can rely on your word as a person. Do you understand? Now, I don't know about you, but I learned a lot on social media. I have a lot of, I would say mentors. I would like to call them mentors, that I must check their post or their wall 3 to 4 times a week, because I know that there's something I'm going to be seeing there that will be of value. I will definitely learn something. It's a must. I've never met these people in my life, but they have affected my life positively in so many positive ways, right? I was privileged to contest for what's it called? Student Union President about 2 years ago. I tell you what, it's amazing how you think that you are not doing anything, or you think that people are not watching you. And then one morning you wake up, maybe someone comes to you and say hi. And that person is probably just a top shot that you don't even know that he knows you. And like, oh, I love what you do. Like I've seen, like they have been following what you have been doing. They have been keeping tabs on you without you knowing. And that's how a very fruitful relationship has started. So it is very crucial. I always say this each time I have the opportunity, because I feel like young people don't understand the power they have to, so it's important for you to be able to establish a credible and trustworthy personality online. Brand yourself. Who do you want to be seen as? Who do you want to be identified as? When people come to your page, who do they perceive you to be? And that's why I'm going to talk about LinkedIn again. LinkedIn is very, very important. Now, if you go to LinkedIn, each person's profile has a definition of them. Maybe, for example, you go to Daniel's profile, you see Daniel Ame. The next thing you should see is where he's working or the things he's interested in. Maybe you see Daniel Ame, advocate, teacher at social and supermarket school. Now, you like just taking a class like that, you know that Daniel Ame is this and this. You know that if he's posting, you definitely be posting about politics, he'll be talking about education because that's his line, and he'll probably be sharing things about, where he works and all that. That is his personality, that is his brand, right? If, for instance, you want to be known as a policy advocate, right, in Nigeria, everything about you should revolve around that, at least in the eyes of the public. It may not be your everyday life because, of course, you have other things to do, you have other interests. But if I visit your social media, maybe I visit Oluchi's social media handle, and she says that she's a policy advocate, I should be able to see things like even if you don't Oluchuku, rather, I'm calling you Oluchi, Oluchuku light, policy advocate, interested in so and so, or does this and this and that, but it has to just be in line with what you say you are. And then when I now come to your post, I should be seeing things maybe that speaks to policies that are being enacted or established by the government, your reviews about those policies. You should have something to say about maybe if they pass a new bill, what does that bill mean for Nigerians? What's your own take? What's your recommendation? Not for it to start insulting the government. Nigerian government is so lackadaisical in making policies or creating rules. They don't care about the knowledge you go and apply for them. What do you mean? And then you end there. What are you saying? How does that change anything? Okay, if like to a layman reading that, how does that help him? I don't know if you get the point I'm making. Please indicate if you can hear me, please. It's so quiet. Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. So I was trying to say, yeah, like I was saying, apart from, yeah, for you to be able to adequately, or should I say effectively, communicate online or advocate, is first build a credible personality online. And for you to be able to do that, learn to communicate first. Learn how to effectively communicate. What are the tools for communication? You know that already. I believe we're all quite educated here. You know what it means. If you want to communicate effectively, your audience is supposed to they're supposed to be able to pick a thing or two from whatever message you're trying to pass across. If you're calling for the review of the Nigerian Constitution, why are you calling for the review of the Nigerian Constitution? What is the Nigerian Constitution? If I want to talk about, for example, I'm very passionate about, of course, politics. It's something I don't write much about it, but I try to engage as much as I can. And maybe I want to talk about, let's just use the education, the Student Loan Act, for example. I actually did a review of that. I've not just published it because of time. Now, the first thing I did in my review of the Act is I tried to give a background of what the Student Loan Act is about, what the previous Act was, and what it is now. It was actually an amendment of the previous Act. And I tried to look at the pratfalls in the previous Act that the Nigerian government said they saw that made them review it or what's it called? Reenact it. I compared to see, did they really fix the problem that was in the previous Act? Okay, this solution that they have proposed, will it work for Nigerian youth? What about the modes for disbursement that they have prescribed in the Act? How does it affect you and I as citizens? What does it say about the sustainability of the Act or of the law itself as a whole? Is it something that will last? The effect of it in the long term, does it really have that much impact on Nigerian youth? If you're giving Nigerian youth money to go to school, you're giving them loans to go to school, you should also be readily providing jobs such that as they're leaving school, there's employment and they're able to pay back those loans. If they're not able to pay back those loans, at the end of the day, they are sinking money that should be put to good use somewhere else. You understand? So those are some of the issues I highlighted. From what I'm saying, you can see that it's like a very detailed, like not a detailed portion, but it's a more logical rather review of the whole thing itself. And wherever I am, I can defend it. I have something to say, and I will not be asked to shut up. And nobody will accuse me of being disrespectful or insulting the Nigerian government or so, because I am actually communicating, right? And if it gets to the point where I have to, stamp my feet on the ground and say, look, I think this actually be repealed, I have something reasonable to say, right? And I believe that to some extent, I have tried to build my personality around that, such that even on social media, people already have an idea of who I say I am, or of who I want to be, them put it that way. That is what I'm talking about. As a young advocate, as a young leader, have an identity. It is very important. You need to have an identity. And then I talked about another way for you to be able to build an online presence is to be able to engage regularly. I think I already said something about that. We're engaging regularly, whatever kind of content you want to put out there, you should be able to, at least if, for example, you want to be posting on Facebook, you should be able to post at least twice or 3 times a week, right? Exactly. See, I see okay, you see that people who have applied this, people, those are some of the issues that I don't think the Nigerian government actually contemplated when they made that act. The act in itself, I think the intent is good, but is Nigeria ready for such an improvement? Are we really ready in terms of economically, and all that? Because it's a different thing to sink that amount of money. How many Nigerian youth are in schools? We are quite a huge number of us in schools. And those that want to get in are equally very plenty. And then you say that I want to loan these people money to go to school. Okay, fine, no problem. What machineries have you put in place? What mechanisms have you put in place to check both the disbursement of those loans, the repayment of those loans, and also the end? You see, the purpose of education as a whole, from beginning to end, is that you want to help educate somebody or equip somebody to be able to do something, right? You go to school in Nigeria, the value of our educational system as a country is not even, it doesn't help you in any way. That's the honest truth. It does not. Even the professional courses, we have over 1 million lawyers in Nigeria. How many of them go to court every day? How many of them put those certificates to good use? So if you're giving money to go to school and go and read law, and I graduate and I don't have a job, how do I pay back the loan? In the end, what is even the purpose of giving me the loan in the first place when it has no value to me, it has no value to you as a country? So I like how you guys are reasoning. So those are the issues, and these are areas that we should be able to come up and speak up and advocate in whichever form. Okay, you may be an artist and you choose that you want to do your own, as an artist. It's still okay doing videos, music and all that. But we need to speak. And I think that's the reason why we organize this space camp, because we feel it's not enough that we know that there are issues. We should be able to know how to communicate these issues, how to, go about advocating for the right change. Now, another strategy for digital advocacy is creating compelling content. Now, it's a different thing to have a social media account and be posting. You are just writing, or you're having just one person look at your post. There's only one person that's reading your post, or nobody reads your post at all in like 1 week or 2 weeks. Why? In the end, is that advocacy? Let's be honest. Advocacy without an audience is no advocacy at all, right? So you should be able to create compelling content. Think of something that people like to see, that will grab people's attention, but at the same time is passing the right message. An example is what can you think of that that people are very drawn to? Quickly, guys, in the comment section. I'd like to see your comment on this. Use social media, for example. When you log in online, you as a person, what is it that attracts you on somebody's post that makes you want to just see what they are saying immediately, or see whatever they post immediately, or even like or share? What is that thing, or that element rather? Please, I'd like to see your comments briefly, quickly. Quickly, guys, quickly. Let's hurry up so that I can round up. No idea. Okay, I assume there's no idea. But for me, the first thing is visuals. Videos, pictures. As long as I'm seeing something fine, I'm clicking. Right? Now, that is what they refer to, or in simple terms, is referred to as compelling. It compels you to take a look, to take a glance, to react and all that. Exactly. When they post news is reality around us, yeah, that's true. Yeah. But then, even if for such a post, for example, let's see, during the NSAS time, let's use a typical example, or even now, this protest is ongoing. When I see a post about it and it's just writing, I don't have time to even read online because I have so many things I need to do. I'm either at work, I just want to log in and quickly see what's happening or check my mail. So I wouldn't even have time to read a long, boring chat. But the moment you attach a picture of a police shooting somebody in that post, yep, I definitely will read what you're saying. I don't know if you get the idea, but social media has rules of engagement and you should be able to master those rules. And the first rule is not only social media. I keep saying social media, forgive me. There are other platforms, both in writing, the podcast platform, all the platforms I mentioned earlier, they have rules. And I know that all of these platforms, they have a few things in common. Yeah, somebody said funny comedy videos. That's true. Very, very true. Those things they have in common is that for those ones that succeed on those platforms, they use compelling content, and some of those content, for example, are visuals like infographics, pictures, and videos, right? Videos. If you want to be a policy advocate, for example, and you take it upon yourself to be able to talk about policies, talk about issues, talk about government affairs, analyze these things, you should be able to have the boldness to have your face to your message. Take a nice shot. Maybe the day you visit National Assembly, you take a very clean picture there. You post it and attach that you write up on it. Or on a good day where you attended an event and you're speaking with the microphone on your hand, you take a nice shot, post it, attach the content you want to talk about on it. If, for instance, maybe you want to organize an event or a training program like this, for example, you can try to do a video advertising is like do a short video where you talk about heading or title, exactly, then visuals, opening sentence, exactly. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah. So we do so for example, you want to organize a training program. You just decide that, okay, let me do a short video about this program and post it. And then, you introduce yourself. Hi, my name is so person. The situation in Nigeria today is so bad. You just give a brief background, and that's the reason why I'm organizing this base camp. Now, in that video, you now show clips of those situations. Maybe you're doing your training is about climate resilience. You now show clips of places in Lagos and Abuja that is polluted and how it has affected people in those communities. And now add, and then the last thing is your link. Register here. Guys, people will definitely go to that video. You definitely get clicks. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's important for you to be able to know how to engage on these platforms and know the rules, and one of which is, using infographics and videos. And then the second technique in creating compelling content is storytelling. We live in an age, as it is right now, storytelling is a tool that people pay to learn storytelling as a tool for advocacy or as a tool for writing. And storytelling is a tool that has come to stay. It's been something that people who knew about it or who knew how to use it have been using it for a long time. But I think now the attention more is on storytelling as a tool for advocacy because people now understand that it works. People like stories. People want to hear happenings, and all that. And you now, as a policy advocate, you should be able to know that your ability to tell a story, for example, for me, my ability to tell the Nigerian story to my audience, how I want them to hear it, it matters a lot in whatever I do, in any application I'm putting out, in any post I'm putting out. I'm writing a book right now. It's a technique that you should have, even if you're not such a good writer, but it's one that's very attractive. I've had the privilege to read so many applications, to volunteer on a few organizations on the applications. And the people who mostly get chosen are the ones who know how to tell their stories. You don't have to lie. You see, the thing is, when we say this, people say, oh, but I don't have a story, blah, blah, blah. Everybody has a story. All of us, we have a story to tell. What matters is how you tell it, how you choose to tell it. And like my friend will always say, if you don't tell your story, someone else will tell it for you in their own words. So you rather learn. So, but in relation to this one now, storytelling is important because it helps you captivate your audience, right? Even if it's just writing, if it's videography you're doing, if it's whatever it is you're doing, how well are you able to tell the Nigerian story? And how well are you crafting the story of Nigeria of the future that you want to see, right? So please, that's very important. I hope we will take time to reflect on this. I may not be a very good teacher, but I hope that I'm making some sense to you guys and you take this thing serious. Then, and as a matter of fact, we have a session coming up on storytelling by one of the best storytellers I know. He works with Changemaker X, Mubarak Idris. He's definitely somebody you have to listen to in terms of storytelling for advocacy. He will take that session and I'm sure you will learn a thing or two, if not more, on how to employ storytelling as a technique, in advocacy. Now, there's another one, engaging with influencers. Now, this may be expensive for you since you're just coming up, right? But it's also one that a technique that if you can afford, you should be able to do it, right? I will still go back to the NSAS protest rather, sorry. Do you know that the NSAS protest was particularly successful to some extent because we had celebrities on that campaign or on the protest, basically? I'm sure you know that. But that's some of the things that made the whole thing go so public, so viral, and it became a thing in Nigeria when we had the likes of Faz, on that campaign. We had the likes of what's his name? Jagaban. You know them guys, you know the people I'm referring to. When you log into your phone and you're seeing them online, you know that great, Nigeria is working. I mean, this guy is cares. So yeah, and what likes of Burna Boy then, right? And I learned that Faz is also very active in this present ongoing protest. So if you can afford it, this is good. But when you cannot afford it, it is still okay. Because it's quite expensive, I must tell you. Policy advocacy as a whole is an expensive venture, getting to engage and all that. But this is just an add-on that if you can achieve it, if you can afford having influencers or celebrities and all that, it will help, to amplify your message when you're able to collaborate with such people. Okay. And then there's campaign planning. Campaign planning is very, very important. In fact, let me start with planning. Planning as a whole is an important attitude that you should be able to adopt in everything you want to do. You should be able to set clear goals. You should be able to set clear objectives. This is what I want to achieve. This is how I'm going to achieve it, right? And then identify your target audience. These are the people I want to, equip. How do I want to equip these guys? I want to equip them this way, this way, this way. With what tools? With this and this and this. How? Maybe through workshops, through essay competition. But you should be able to plan, draw out, have a map in your mind. What I normally do is I just map it out in my head. I think about it for a very long time. This base camp, for instance, I had this idea about 2 months ago. I just train it in my mind, running, just so that by the time I sit down to start, drawing up, I already know what I want. It's easy to just draw up that map. And then I know that this time to this time, this is what we're doing. From this time to this time, this is what we're doing. From now to now, we're calling this person or this person. So that way, by the time you get out there, you're made. People, you see, the thing about life is generally is that people don't know how much effort you put in. They don't know how much it even takes for you to even get to where you are or for you to get the result that you have. They just want to see it perfect, right? And you can only achieve that much if you plan well. If you're calling for a protest, my brother, you should have started planning for that protest a month ago or prior to that day. Don't wait for 2-3 days so that you must have anticipated everything that must have gone wrong. There's a principle of entrepreneurship that I borrowed from one of my favorite entrepreneurs, I would say one of the persons I look up to. His name is Stephen Bartlett. He says he plans to fail. In all his planning, one thing he always does is he plans to fail so that when he has failed, he knows how to pick up. If, for instance, you want to invest in a business, you started already, anticipate the failures that you could have had. What you think about 100 ways that this thing you're doing can go wrong. By doing that, you've already anticipated and prepared your result, or you already have a solution. Exactly, you have a solution to those problems, such that no matter where and how they spring up, you are good to go. Nothing can stop you, right? You want to organize a protest. Please, I'm not saying you should go and organize a protest. Please, I'm just using this as an example. You want to organize a protest, for example. One of the things you want to do is go to the police, just among so many things, but you know that there's possibility that this protest they are doing now, like this, hoodlums may come and hijack it. So many things can go wrong. And in the end, not only that, be able to achieve what you wanted to achieve, like passing the information across or getting the attention of the government, for example, that you want to get. Apart from that, you yourself now, you now be held down, you are either arrested or one or the other, and to delay your own progress in whatever venture you are doing. So, of course, you have to definitely be able to anticipate that, it's possible that hoodlums will be able to hijack this my protest. So I should involve the police so that when they come, the police are aware. They will not come and say that this means that, because, of course, if you involve the police, you have already proven, ab initio, that your protest is a peaceful one. You don't mean any harm. That's why you're coming to the police, right? That is established by your approaching the authorities. Inform them, this is what we're doing at this time, as also date. These are the people who are expecting. This is how far we're going to do it. This is where we're going, and stick to the rules, right? So that is one way that you've anticipated a possible failure and that you have already, created or proposed a solution to it.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you may want to do is, okay, this is my protest now. It should take
Yeah.
4 hours. It will take 4 hours, right? And it's possible that this my protester will be tired along the way. And if you can't be tired for my protest and they start leaving, this thing will be cut short. It's not only be cut short, so when some people start leaving, others may follow suit. Yeah, is someone speaking? Is someone speaking? Okay, so when other people start getting tired and start leaving, others may follow suit. And in the end, I may just end up not being able to, complete what I started already. What do you now do? People will need water. Water is hydrating. Okay, so let's buy water. People will need glucose. Yeah, glucose is also very hydrating. Let's have glucose on standby. You have anticipated a possible failure by having those things on standby, so that when you notice that people are getting tired, you are refreshing them. The end goal, the goal of a protest, is to be able to march to government house, register your grievances to the government, and live in peace. And for you to be able to achieve that, you should be able to plan bit by bit, set your goals, set your objectives, plan every single aspect of that protest, anticipate possible failures that your protest could have, plan or have solutions for them, And what I do sometimes is I have plan A, B, and C. Plan A has to be perfect. I make sure that plan A is perfectly perfect. Plan B would also be perfect, so that if plan A fails, plan B comes in without a shift. Like it will be like nothing happened. Only me will know that plan A has failed. You that is, maybe I'm working, we don't know. But so that no matter what it is, that thing is achieved, that thing is done. And those are some of the qualities of a leader, of a good leader, not just any leader, not bad leaders, of a good leader. You should be able to anticipate, plan properly at all times, at every bit. This applies even to your everyday life. I have something that I do and that works for me, and I hope that it does for you too. I schedule my day. Every day of my life is scheduled. It's not because I'm a boring person. I know people like, now wow, like you. I allocate time to everything I want to do, right? I started doing that last year and it has worked for me. I'm not perfect yet. I still, flop sometimes, keeping to time and all that. But I try to have an allocated time for everything. I have time to pray. When I wake up, I have my time to work out. The first thing I do every day is I pray and then I work out from 4:30. I work out and then I come back, I have coffee and then I prepare to go to work. After, when I'm done preparing, I sit down, I check my email, log into social media, see if there's something I need to attend to on there, right? And then I leave, I go to work. In the middle of the day, I have a call, maybe at work or a meeting or something. I go straight into it. But then I have specific hours where I do certain things, right? I have time that I read. I have time that I review recent policies in Nigeria. I have time that so that no matter what, wherever, there's no time that my life is pointless. There's no time that I am, how do I say this, that I am lazy or I am jobless or I'm lost, right? I'm right on track at all times. I know that I have a goal and this is where I'm going and these are the things I need to do, right? And I tell you what, these things, they stick, these habits stick to you. You start doing them subconsciously, they become engraved in you, right? And it shapes your life in so many ways. When you begin to work with people, when you begin to communicate and work with people, you start seeing that somehow you're doing these things effortlessly, and you start from what people say about you, that you're on the right track, right? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So please adopt some of these habits. Scheduling. There are many tools that can do this for you. I use Google Calendar, for instance. It's totally free. Try to set yourself up. Schedule a time to post online. Schedule a time that you want to do research on so and so topic. Schedule a time for every bit. That's where you start building yourself. You start, you learn to communicate better. You learn to, because you are, even when you have something to say, even when you have to say something rather, you have something reasonable to say, because you are not just waking up from your sleep and you just want to do something. You are somebody who has a vision. You are somebody who has focus. You have been reading. You have been engaging in so many ways. So in summary, what I mean is that it takes a lot of effort, it takes personal effort to learn through these things and be able to, share a lot. And then I want us to look at another case study. We already looked at NSAS protest. There was another kind of campaign, right? That was the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, right? And this campaign planning that I spoke about was kind of employed here. And you see where they use social media very well, use of hashtags, on digital platforms. It drew a lot of global attention to the kidnapping of the schoolgirls, by Boko Haram. Although most of them are not yet back yet, but I'm sure that each one on this call saw or heard something about Bring Back Our Girls, about the whole kidnapping as a whole. If you did not hear it when the news broke on TV, on Arise or AIT, you must definitely have seen it on Twitter rather, or on Facebook, because of the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls. You understand? So these are some of the things that you should take note of. When you go through the slide I will send to you, you see these things more in details. Now, how I think that Bring Back Our Girls also had celebrity endorsement, like I mentioned before, which also made it popular. And then, the international media coverage, the BBC coverage and all that. What was the outcome of this? It increased global awareness. It's also increased the pressure on Nigerian government, and then the eventual rescue of some of the kidnapped girls. The truth is, Nigerian government has been really, really poor when it comes to giving attention to some of these issues, right? And some of these efforts have played a huge role in making the success or in supporting the success of this campaign. The Bring Back Our Girls campaign, for instance, it may not have been on the news, but the engagement of celebrities, the campaign online and all that was what actually pushed the Nigerian government to, I would say, not critically, because there are still some girls who are out there, much more than what is reported on the media. I hope you know that it's not everything that's reported on the media is as it is. But you see, the campaign online, the celebrity endorsement and the media coverage online is what actually made them to take some steps that led to the release of some of these girls, right? You can go check the news for the right numbers. So we'll move on. Before I proceed, I want to hear questions. If you have any questions. You can raise your hand and ask. You don't have to put it in the comment section. Oh, thank you, my friend. Thanks for your kind words. Yes, so I literally left out of this because we have people who can't read. Some don't have attention, then kids are coming up. Yes, there's something we call community organizing, right? And local advocacy efforts. That's the one where you try to get across to people who are in the outskirts or in the hinterlands, right? So I will just give you a practical example to answer this. Oh, no. It's not only for the educated. I have worked with a couple of non-profits that have led me to about the 23 local governments of Benue State on advocacy efforts. Sorry about that. So the only thing is, like I said, advocacy can be expensive sometimes, and it's because of some of these issues. You can't, it's definitely not only for the educated, of course not. You should be able to reach people who don't have education, people who don't have access to social media and all that. How do you do that? You can explore traditional media, one-on-one conversations, education, community organizing generally to reach people in the hinterlands. In 2022, we had at Noble Africa Foundation, we had the Benue School Her campaign, where we took our time to go to visit villages across about 6 local governments area. During that campaign, for example, what we did was we went house to house to speak about, the essence of girl child education, why they should educate their girls, went to schools, engaged teachers and all that. But in a case where you have people, of course, that are uneducated, you definitely have to find a way to get across to them. And the only way I know, apart from traditional media like radios and all that, is to, one-on-one conversations, talking to them bit by bit. Because I believe in this age, we are not really that advanced, but most people have access to radio. And when we have to get across to people, the radio is one way to do that. Traditional media, churches, schools, traditional councils and all that. So no, it depends on what you want to do, right? What kind of advocacy efforts are you putting out there? Or what kind of advocacy efforts you want to embark on or take on, right? If you say you want to do, let's say, a training program, who are your audience? That's the first thing you try to identify. Who are your audience for this? How do I get to them? You cannot say because these people don't have phones, they don't have access to social media, I can't work with them. No. If you want to teach women how to sew, for example, the kind of women you should be looking at are women who don't have access to income, who don't work, or who cannot even afford start a business because they're probably not educated or don't have the money. And that means that to get social media, you mostly have to go to places where you can find such people, which are in communities where there are, some of these things you have mentioned, they are illiterate, they don't have access to social media and all that. And that means I should to communicate to them in their language, right? If I say in their language, I don't necessarily mean if it's TV, you have to communicate in TV. No, you have to communicate with them the way they will understand. The way I'm talking to you here is not the way I'll talk to the woman that said he's smiling, I'll be doing some antics, to suit the environment I find myself in. So no, illiterates are not left out. Even illiterates can be advocates. Illiterate, look, everybody has a role to play, right? But it starts with education, right? Educating people on the basis of their need. That's one thing. And I think that's why the Nigerian educational system is failing, because we don't have access to the kind of education that we need as a country will suit the situation we're in right now. So education that people need is what you want to put out in whatever endeavor, in whatever advocacy efforts you're putting out. Those are the things to consider. I hope I've answered your question. Sephora tool, yeah. I hope I answered your question. And please, anybody can unmute and speak, right? You don't have to be in the comment section. If it's a lot, if you want to, it's fine, but just know that you are free to unmute and speak. Now, let's move on. If there are questions, we can still take it at the end of this session. We're almost done. Now, what are the best practices for give me a minute. Okay, so at this point, I want us to I'm going to put you in breakout sessions where you go in and discuss among yourselves how you can use digital tools to advocate for an issue you have identified in your office. So the first thing you do is, what issues do you think you have in your community that you as a person think you can, advocate for or against, or that you can cause change, or come about change, rather. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah. So first of all, what are the issues you have to address these specific issues in your community. Identify the tools you use, identify what strategies. So you should be in the breakout rooms. You should be invited rather to join the breakout rooms any moment from now. Please, I want you to communicate. I want you to get to meet each other, introduce yourselves, right? Yeah. So there's going to be 4 breakout rooms. And once you see the invitation on your screen, please click and join. All right, please guys, try to join the rooms. Yeah, I think everybody should join the rooms you've been assigned to. It's a very brief discussion, just a peer interaction. Okay, you're supposed to be in room. I think I've added you, Aisha, to room 4. You can join now. Aisha Abubakar, have you been able to join?
You be say get confidence. You enter here, you who no like man? Who no like man? Whether the thing is whether confidence. We know the look at the money.
Confidence go come by force.
Come on, money they give courage.
Because if they can't give you now, but you say better confidence. So
you tell them say
now. If they just go 100,000,
no. See, but you never do them before. Then it's videos even they come out without even see money they do. You get this thing, you get money where they collect this thing. Collect you one way and no see me. That e-learning. What be the meaning of that e-learning, sir?
E-learning, the thought of tutorial section. The tower e-learning.
E-learning, they say they give receipt. I be waiting.
They give receipt. That
3,000, they give you receipt. They don't do e-learning. That question about this man when they work there, they will be okay. That man when they work for that sector center.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. So I hope we had very engaging conversations on how we could on issues that we've identified in our communities and how we could engage, right? So I'd like us to share for each group, one person should just briefly tell us what you guys discussed, or better still, share what your idea was. And yeah, anybody please who wants to share with us, tell us what your idea was, tell us how you think you can use social media, and then maybe highlight one of your group members, what they said about or what their idea was, just briefly. It's nothing serious. I just want us to communicate here because our take-home assignment for today is going to be around this, and you'll be presenting it tomorrow. So it would be nice to just have a head start. So I want to hear from you. Group one, anyone? Quickly. Just unmute and speak. Okay, good communication is key. Yeah, okay. So what have you identified in your community that you think you can use digital platforms, to address? What specific issue have you identified? And what digital tool or platform do you think, or strategy do you think you would use to implement the change in that area you've identified? I believe that was the question. So yeah, communication is key. You need to be creative on the digital platform you chose. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Okay. Yeah, group 3, 4, group 2. Anyone, just quickly, please. All right. So I don't want us to waste much more time. So let's just quickly look at best practices for digital advocacy. And the first cornerstone for digital advocacy is consistency. I believe we spoke about that through the conversation we had. Consistency is key. You have to maintain a regular posting schedule on whatever platform you choose to use. And then authenticity. It is very important to be genuine and transparent in your communications, right? And I cannot overemphasize that. Even as we are here like this, I know that there are some people that we know we don't listen to, or we don't talk to, we don't rely on their information because we believe that they cannot be relied upon, they are not authentic and all. So you shouldn't fall into that category if you want to be an advocate, or if you think that you want to start playing. And then number 3 is engagement. You should be able to respond, and be able to give feedback on issues, basically. And then 4, adaptability. Be flexible. We live in a new era, and that is why it's important for you to even start learning how to engage digitally, because we live in a digital era. You should be able to be flexible and adapt your strategy based on what works and what doesn't. If you want to undertake a community action, for example, you will not say, this is how this thing has been done, so me too, I will do it this way. No. What's the status quo right now? What is more obtainable as stands? What will work in this community? For example, you want to undertake an advocacy effort in your village, and you know that people in your village, they are very rigid people, traditional people, and sometimes when you go, in fact, first thing is, you know that when you start speaking English, then they'll be like, that's rule number 1, you have failed already. So it's not that, and because it's an advocacy and it's because it's on a serious issue, and then you are going there with people from United Nations, no, you have to speak English. No. What will work in that community as you are, what can what will work for you, and how can you achieve your end goal? There's a popular story of a community where they didn't have wells, they didn't have water, and this non-profit wanted to help them out, and we thought that just digging a ball is the problem. No, they find of course, when the woman out went out to get water from the streams, and wells, was a time where they could have privacy with their husbands, right? So those are some of the things you think about. Advocacy is not a straight jacketed endeavor. It does not have like Sorry about that, everyone. My network, it just butted me out. Please confirm you can hear me before I proceed. Just a reaction is sufficient. Can anyone hear me? All right, thank you. Yes, so what was I saying? Yeah, so I was talking about challenges, right? And I mentioned misinformation and fake news. Yeah, misinformation and fake news is something that has come to stay, and it has its own effects because you end up with so much information out there, you don't know which one to believe, you don't know which one is accurate, you don't know which one to work with. And one thing that's most dangerous about advocacy is you can't just rely on anything you see online. You have to be able to do your own research, have your own sources as a person, know what to depend on, and also know how to present these facts, so that even if you get to the point where you are not totally accurate, no one can hold you responsible. No one can, it does not do that much damage. I don't know if you understand me. So misinformation, yes, is one of the challenges. And online harassment and trolling. Yeah. In Nigeria today, young people, I keep saying young people because it's actually the youth that are very, very, very good at doing committing some of these hazards and menace, in our society as it stands, especially on social media. People feel that they have rights over you as a person. They commit all kinds of atrocities online because they think it's a free space and nobody is to be called to order, but you shouldn't be part of that and you shouldn't condone that from anybody. Trolling, bullying, and harassment online should not be condoned. And you, as a young advocate or as a young leader, should know how to stamp your ground and refuse it, right? Most people shy away from social media now because they don't want to be dragged. If I say something now, they will drag me and all that. Some people even go as far as threatening. Those are vices, those are wrong, and those things have constituted challenges to advocates and civic leaders, right? But it shouldn't deter you. You should just learn how to engage, learn how to stand your ground. If you want to say something, be sure what you're saying and be ready to defend it at all times, right? So that it should not be that even before you start, you just made one post, bam, people have entered your inbox, people have entered your comment section and you don't fear, they post it again. No, right? You have to develop thick skin. That is if you mean to take this serious anyway. I'm not saying everybody on this call must become an advocate or must be a policy advocate or anything like that. But as a person, you should know how to build your own strength of character. You should know how to be able to defend yourself, have your own opinion of yourself, of society for yourself. Like know the things you believe in and know that you are ready to defend these things and nobody can intimidate you, off them online or not. And also, yes, there's also digital divide. Yeah, that's just like someone pointed out, there are illiterates who don't have access to some of these things. And illiteracy cuts across many issues, which one of them is digital. There are some people that are digital illiterates. Some have access to these things, but they don't know how to use them. They don't even understand them to start with. Myself, I would say I'm an illiterate on some platforms or some tools. One of those tools is Snapchat. Another one is TikTok. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I have never understood TikTok in my life. I don't understand it. I have an account. I managed to even get an account, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what is done on it. It just seems funnily complex. It's funny. The first time I ever used Twitter was when that NSAS protest started. That was when I had cause to go on Twitter and open an account. And I tell you, my brothers and sisters, that for the first few weeks, I was still not sure what I was doing. Yeah, it was a little bit complex to me. I didn't know how to, do certain things and all that. Some people are actually illiterate when it comes to digital platforms and digital tools, and that is an impediment, right? You may be one of those persons. I know that some people they are not on LinkedIn because they don't know how to use LinkedIn, but everything is about learning. You have to learn. Once you take out time to know that this is something I want to do, this is what I need to know, just it's easy. And thank God for YouTube, thank God for the internet. Some of these informations are out there. You can go out, get them yourself and get things done, right? And yeah, so let's talk about solutions. I think those challenges, few of those challenges are enough. The rest will be in the slides when I have them ready. Solutions to these things, first is fact checking and verifying. Yeah, I already said it before. As a leader, wherever you find yourself, you don't just believe anything you see or hear. You don't just reproduce everything you see. It is wrong. Nobody can run into my room and tell me that they shot somebody at the gate, and I'll say, oh, they shot somebody, and then next thing I'm looking for my own gun to go and shoot somebody, without verifying or authenticating that information to be sure that it is correct. That is very important. Anything you see, especially online, it is important to check, fact check it and verify it. Verification can be difficult sometimes, especially in society where we don't even take those things serious. But there are platforms, for example, let me give you a practical example. If I see a news online or maybe Instagram or Twitter or Facebook about maybe they say that they burnt Aso Rock or Aso Villa, let me put it that way. I know that for sure, if I go to TVC or BBC or AIT news handle or Facebook, that news, if it is true, that news will be there. I don't know if you get the point I'm making. I know that if there's a publication, if there's a story going on online, something that has to be like what's it called? Maybe like a scandal, something like that. I know that there are some handles that if that story is true, it will be there and it will be in details, right? There'll be a more elaborate information on that story on such platforms. Somebody made mention of me like KG blog. I don't really follow her sha. But I know that if there's just about Toto DK or Genevieve Naji or a celebrity that I want to be sure everything is correct, I can go to Linda Ikeji's blog and see. It may not be accurate, but I know that the fact that she's carrying it, it means it could be true, So you should be able to have some of these these check platforms available to you, if when it comes to writings or articles and all, there's Medium, there's there's a lot of them, that you can use to fact check information, especially when you want to take that information serious, when you want to act on it. Check it first, be sure what it entails before you proceed. It is very important. It's important, one, because people take you more seriously when they know that whatever comes from you is authentic. In whatever field, whatever platform, whoever you are, it's always very important. Be authentic. And yeah, let me just add this. Authenticity also goes beyond social media, beyond posting, beyond writing and all that. Authenticity goes beyond all that. It has to do with your person. You should wear it such that even your everyday life, people can vouch for you. These things are very crucial. If you want to grow as a young person, you shouldn't be a kind of person that anybody can trash you down and there'll be no one to defend you, because that's he does that, So it's about building your personality, building your brand, being authentic in a world where there's multiple personalities. Everybody wants to be everything. Everybody wants to be that thing or this person or all that. It is highly important to be yourself, be authentic, have your principles, stick to them, make sure that people know them. It has worked for me in so many ways, and I'm glad I learned some of these things earlier. Nothing faces me in life, not because I don't have issues or I don't have problems or my father is the richest or no. I come from a very humble background. But for the longest time, I have had this confidence about myself. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I know my limits. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses as well. I also know that in this world as we are, no one can intimidate me. Not because I am infallible or because I am perfect, or it's not out of pride, but I know that I'm not worthless. I have something to offer. I have something to say. What about you? Can you boast that you have something to offer society? Can you boast now, as you are on this corner, that if your mates are talking about you, they can say, oh, Faith is this person. She's so good at this. I love the way she talks when she talks about this. Oh, I know that she's so passionate about so and so issues. You can check her handle now. You can see the things she writes about. You can see the things she talks about. Oh, she does this, she does that. She has done this for. Do people have a perception of who you are, and is that perception the right one? That is something I want us to take back from this call as you leave. Even if you don't take anything else, know that if you don't have personality, it's time that you build one for yourself. make sure that it's out there online, because when opportunities come, those are the places where people will be looking to know who exactly is this person. And then there's establishing community guidelines. Now, this applies to you when you're forming, when you're working on your projects, right? If you're working with people, there should be guidelines generally, whether online, offline, or wherever you are. If this is specific because you're going to be having developing your action plans for advocacy projects that you want to do in your communities, and would also like to see how you're able to control or guide the number of persons you're working with. Then the third one is providing digital literacy training. Yeah. So this also applies to that community project you are doing, right? If your project it has to do with, using a digital tool or digital platform, or if it has to do with people that are illiterate and you know that they need to learn this thing, then this applies to you. If it does not, then let it be. So in summary, I think that we've done a little bit justice on digital advocacy, the tools that are available and how you can use them. And I just want to encourage us all that you just be able to start your own digital campaign, right? It doesn't have to be elaborate, you don't have to do something so big. When I talk of campaign, I don't mean a mighty, I don't mean a very elaborate thing that everybody will see. Oh, no, you don't, that's not what I meant. No, not at all. What I mean is, in your everyday life, what is that thing that you're passionate about as far as institutional accountability is concerned, that you think that you want to be talking about or you want to create awareness around? Is it the let's say bureaucracy in the police administration system? Is it the how bad has affected young people? Is it about the educational system, the policies, the like just the issues around those places? Is it what's it called, EFCC as an institution and their flaws, and have something, have an identity, right? And employ digital tools in doing so, because the world has gone digital. And like I said from the very beginning of this of my session, I believe that the power of youth is our commonwealth, right? As a nation and as a people on earth, right? It is very, 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 very much dependent on you and I to see how or what we can do to make things better. And your face, particularly, is the face of the future of this country. That is why I'm so passionate about what I do, because it is not my mother or my father that will come and be doing this advocacy or come and be fighting for my right or doing that. It is me. I have to do it for myself and for my children and for the future. And it is your legacy as much as it is mine, for the generation to come. These are the things that you'll be handing over to your children or your children's children, right? A better country. If not, we're done for, right? So please, but just by way of encouragement, get engaged, get involved, right? So are there questions? Is there anything you want to say? At this point, I want you to unmute and speak, please. And then after that, we'll just do a brief photo shoot, a screenshot of kind of. So please, do you have questions? Any questions? Or anything at all you have to say? This is the time. Not in the comment section this time around, my friends. Please don't be shy, because tomorrow you'll be presenting. So start practicing today. So if you have something to say, just unmute and speak. Okay. So I want to assume that are there questions, or is there anyone that has something to say? Kingsley, I can see your video is on. Do you have something to say? Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon. So I can't hear you. I don't know if I'm the only one. Can you hear me, Kingsley? I can barely hear you.
I can hear you.
I can barely hear.
All right, great,
Okay.
great. Yeah, go on now. It's better.
Okay. First and foremost, let me use this opportunity to appreciate the organizers of this laudable program. If programs as such as these are frequently organized and youths engage themselves to learn how to be advocates of institutional accountability and in short accountability in government, generally, I believe our country and our states today will be better than what it is today. First and foremost, all these years I've had this zeal to speak up, but because of fear and how people will look at me, I have always remained in my shell. But with this today, I believe that tomorrow I'll be able to also be one person that will champion the cause of holding people responsible for their actions and inactions. This which we've received today, it's one that I believe that the participants there should use well because it has to go a long way for our living and our country as the nation we are living in. Things have gone wrong, but people that are there to speak have always remained silent. Though there have been all these tools which are talking about today before us, but we choose not to use it the right way. Today you discover that in Benin State in particular, we have this pattern attitude of politicizing things. But if you know where you are going as you just the person presenting to the advocated that you know where you are going and what you stand for, I believe we should be able to do the right thing despite what people will say about you, think about you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I think I have learned something and something has also added to my life, and I believe I will do well. Thank you so much for this, your time given to us and the opportunity afforded us. Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
All right. Thank you so much too. Thank you for attending as well. You know, the thing is, we can only try, right? If we don't have people who are willing to listen, whatever we do amounts to nothing. So we equally appreciate everybody has taken time to be on this call. That's also very, very important to us. And it shows that at least we are also doing something that young people are very much interested in and are ready to learn. So yeah. Anybody else?
Yes.
All right, yeah, Barnabas, please go on.
Okay, good afternoon once again.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Very interesting and impactful. I just want to ask a question. You know, sometimes we have knowledge, we have the passion, but then we lack the platform where we can be able to attach ourselves and then showcase them. So in case maybe somebody has the same passion, really advocate for institutional accountability and transparency, especially though you have highlighted your presentation focus on data platform, but then you most time with this platform. I mean, the platform here is not the social media and all of that. That could be an individual something, but maybe you need where you attach yourself. Most people like people are advocating for gender-based violence, all of that attach themselves to some foundation. So some foundation NGOs that that in line with such passion. So my question now is that how can we go to those platforms that can liberate to make our voice count, make our voice known, and to keep our passion in terms of advocating for accountability and transparency.
For the first time, media is natively good at supporting.
Sorry, can you hear me, man? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I think I can hear you now.
Why is it so low? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Can you hear me?
Hello, ma.
Sorry, I just caught bits of what you said. Just quickly just recap your question. I'm sorry.
All right. I was just trying to say that sometimes we have the passion and then the zeal, the knowledge to showcase ourselves in this area of advocacy, but we feel like the platform, and the platform here is not really mean the digital tools, but then sometimes you need to attach yourself with sometimes the NGO, some of those NGO that are already in line with such goals. So you really need to attach to them. Like I saw some persons where they say they want to advocate for gender-based violence. Some people talk about feminism. So and we already have NGOs that are already in line with such issues. So my question was that how can you be able to source or attach yourself or volunteer to these organizations where you can be able to showcase your passion and advocate for such issues in the society?
Okay, so for me now, for example, let me just use myself to say this. It doesn't really take, it just takes a little effort from your part. Because one, I know that there are a lot of organizations out there who are ready to accept young people, for volunteers or internships and all that. But it is the attitude of young people most times, that makes it difficult or seem like it's difficult when it's not. For example, for Noble Africa Foundation, for instance, we've had volunteers since when we started, and it's just a few of them that came with the right attitude, and very few more so that have actually been active. Some of them just come, they just want to gain that status of I'm a volunteer with this or that and that and that. For me, for example, how I started when I was, I think, 13 years old or 12 years old. I was in primary school then. I would go to the office just to help out from one, station or another. I grew in it, right? It's just, for me, I just walked in, right? This is who I am. I want to volunteer with you guys. Started giving me assignments. I started learning, on the job and everything. So it doesn't take much. It's just the zeal, first of all. Secondly, like you pointed out, some people wanted to volunteer for gender, based violence and all. Identify your area of interest. Identify what it is you are passionate about. Passion because this job does not pay, right? It does not pay, like it will not fetch you the best things life can afford. Of course, if you get a good job with a good, a well-established non-profit, you can make a living, but you need to be passionate about this because sometimes the amount of work you put in does not amount, not even an inch, to what you get paid or to how much you earn from it, right? So some of these things should be are things that we should be conscious about. And in terms of platform, another thing you should have in mind generally now, just beyond this whole advocacy thing, is that you should be ready to create your own platform if no one gives you any. At some point, sometimes in life, you should be able to say, okay, this is what I want to do. And whether or not anybody supports me, I will definitely get it going. And it works, Sometimes you just have to start and it's okay. I'm not saying you should go and start your NGO. No, I'm saying that either way, there's always there's always a way out. There's always something you can do, right? There are so many NGOs. I can actually take out time to drop some of the links on the group for you guys. Maybe tomorrow or when I have time, I'll sit down before the end of the boot camp, definitely, of NGOs that are hiring right now, hiring interns and volunteers. You can apply, and trust me, you must get one out of the many I will share with you. It doesn't take anything. And the beauty of it is that NGOs don't even they don't necessarily look for people that are that much highly qualified. For example, if you want to go in as a volunteer, you don't need that much qualification. You just have to be able to demonstrate that passion. Same thing applies to going in as an intern. As I am now, I still intern. That's another thing people should be conscious of. You people should be conscious of. There's no pride in growth. You cannot grow big You are small. That's why you're trying to grow. So be where you need to be small, because that's the only way you can attract, certain opportunities that will help you actually grow. And I always say that God also does not even bless who you pretend to be. If you're just starting out, wear off your pride, keep it one side, do the work. When I started, I can't count the number of NGOs that I worked for free because I knew that I wanted to learn. And I can only learn if I am on the job, if I am actually in the field doing these things. I wouldn't know a thing if I sit in my house and receive who will pay me to go and learn, right? I've entered for NGOs. I am still interning for an NGO as it stands right now because I know what I stand to gain if I work, apart from the fact that it's such a non-profit that has established itself very well. The network is there, the network of people that I need to meet through that platform. So it's not about the money sometimes. We should also be conscious of, things that can hinder us from growing, things like pride, things like not having the right mindset generally to work, Be ready to do the job at all times and go out there no matter what. I have a mindset that nothing can stop me, and I expect us all to have that consciousness that if you want to do something, you can get it done. You have the ability. You just have to work, right? So, my friend, I know that it's not easy, and of course, especially in places like where we're coming from, Benue, and some places where there are not that many opportunities, and then there are not that many people who are willing to support. You should be able to stand on your own, find your way around by yourself. Sometimes you have to start. Nobody will hold your hand, but when you start, you take that first step. You find somebody along the way that will be able to hold hands with you, and you walk, all through the journey, right? So I hope I answered your question, though.
Very much. Very well. Can you hear me?
All right, yeah, sure, I can hear you now. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay.
So does anybody else have a question? Does anyone else have a question? Okay. So I want us to just quickly turn our videos on. I think we've come to the close of this session. Let's just turn our video on. Aaron, Ngutu, are you there? Quickly, so that we can get going, guys. So that we can just take a screenshot. Everyone should take a screenshot of their screen. Go on and post it online, and tag Noble Africa Foundation or tag Yearly West Africa, just by way of appreciating and also helping the foundation gain visibility so that when we post opportunities like this, more people will see it. So please quickly turn on your videos. Please turn on your video, especially if you want to post it on your social media handle. They should also see your faces. Right. All right, so at the count of 1 to 3, I guess everybody's ready. Nguto, please, you can also take a screenshot. All right, at the count of 1 to 3, let's just quickly take a screenshot for wherever you are. And I'll be looking to seeing your post online. All right, 1, 2, 3, guys. All right, I think we're done. Well done, everybody. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. And trust me, tomorrow's sessions will be packed. I've worked with one of the speakers, and I tell you, he is versatile, he's experienced. He's just somebody you have to listen to learn so much. If you want to go into policy advocacy, he's actually on the job right now. If you've heard of Leap Africa, Nigerian Youth Futures Fund, he is the project lead for that, and he's presently the project lead for government and government relations, policy advocacy and government relations. So he knows the job, he's in the job, he's up there, and he's doing pretty well. So come prepared to learn. Tomorrow's session starts by 10 a.m. We also have another speaker, like I mentioned before, Mubarak Idris, who is the storytelling and advocacy lead for Changemaker Exchange. Childmaker Exchange is an international NGO, you know, so for someone to be up there, you know that that person is quite packed with knowledge and skill. So come prepared to learn and invite your friends. Anyway, your friends that have registered, because we can't work with people that have not registered, right? And be early, 10 a.m. tomorrow. Well done, everybody. And finally, before I forget, there's an assignment for everyone. Right after this call, we'll drop the question in the group. Please do it, because tomorrow anybody will be presenting. We can just follow anyone to present what they have done, right? So good night, or goodbye, and God bless the rest of your evening. Yeah, so you can leave the call now.
Okay. No. Hold on. Hey. Yeah, Pabelo.